Hi, folks. So today's topic is something quite interesting in terms of helping people along their weight loss journey, and that I've titled "Thoughts Can Sound Like Facts." Now, when you think about that title to start with, that seems pretty obvious. Um, Thoughts aren't facts. We know that, and on one level, we definitely do. But the thing is, when we get caught up in them, that's not quite the case. They do seem to be real. They seem to be true. They seem to be giving you an accurate description of actually what is happening. And that can have a huge impact on how you feel. Your thoughts and your feelings are connected, and therefore they can impact hugely also on the decisions you make. And because they impact on the decisions you make, you behave in a particular way, you get certain results because of that. So if you're looking for to achieve long-term success, then this idea can be very important for you. So think about a few things. You step on the scales, and the number that you hoped to see wasn't quite what you wanted. And what's the thought that comes in your head? This isn't working. Or maybe you went out one evening and you had some food or some drink that you doesn't fit to the program. So the thought that comes up, I've blown it. Um, or you've been really busy this week and you missed a couple of walks, and you then go, oh no, I'm back in my old habits. I'm not following the program. Now, as you listen to me now, they might not seem much, but so what I want you to do from here is I want you to just try and listen to your thoughts and see how convincing they can actually sound. You see, that they don't come with a warning label with them, um, along the lines of this is only one possible interpretation. So when you have a thought, you see it as it is on its own, as a single, i.e., fact, when in fact it's just an interpretation of what happens. So when they arrive, they seem like facts, as if they're an official verdict of that, whatever has happened. Um, but of course, if they were, if thoughts were facts, then they would remain forever true. Yet they rarely do. It doesn't take long sometimes for them to feel completely different. It's often the case of you go to sleep at night and you wake up with a completely different perspective. It doesn't have to take that long for you to realize that what you worried about wasn't the thing that really mattered. Now, the interesting thing about that, the circumstances haven't actually changed necessarily. What's changed is the thinking around that. And that's a clue to something very important. What we're experiencing is coming from thoughts, not from the situations that we're in. But we tend to think it's our circumstances and our situation that are dictating our experiences, how we feel, but it's not. It's our thoughts. Now, this matters a lot on a weight loss journey because people often make long-term decisions based on short-term thinking. When they feel discouraged and off path, they have discouraging thoughts which feel true, and they then respond as if they're true, but they're acting from a temporary state of mind. Um, so one of the things I do on the LightMinds talk program, I talk about lenses, and a lot of what you see in the world, what's going on in the world, is coloured by the lens you're wearing. So if you imagine you put on a pair of dark grey glasses, then everything you're looking at would look darker. The world would appear duller, but yet the world actually hasn't changed. It's the lens that you're looking at it that's changed. And thinking works in a very similar way. Sometimes we're looking through a lens of frustration or a lens of self-criticism or a lens of disappointment. Each of those lenses will then color how we see things. And how we see things then looks like reality. But I've been coaching a long time now, a lot of people. And um, the thing about it is that people often believe they need to fix every negative thought that comes through those lenses, that they need to challenge it, replace it, um, overwhelm it. But what if that isn't necessary? So think about another analogy I use in the LightMinds program is the weather. When clouds pass through the sky, we don't rush outside to try and push them away. We understand they're temporary. We understand they'll move on. And our thoughts are remarkably simple, similar. They will go. We don't have to do anything with them. We don't have to fight them, push them away, or anything like that. Now, if we give them more attention, they could stay longer. But as soon as we become distracted by something or place our attention somewhere else, they go. And the beauty about thoughts is some are pleasant, some are uncomfortable, but they're all temporary. The difficulty that we have is when we mistake them for permanent truths, you know, and they just never are. You go to bed worrying about something, feels huge. A few hours later, you get up in the morning and you go, what was I worried about? Now, the problem could still be there. You're just not worried about it. Your relationship to it has changed. Your thinking has settled down. You're looking through another lens, and therefore you're looking from a different perspective. And so what looked really difficult and challenging has become now manageable. And this happens to us all the time. And if you begin to pay attention to this, you'll see it. The circumstances are not changing. Our feelings are, our experience is changing, but it's not our circumstances that are changing. So our circumstances are not creating anything different for us. It's our thought about those things. And this can, of course, be very useful when it comes to you on your weight loss journey, because you don't have to follow those thoughts, the thoughts that you've always struggled to lose weight, or you're not disciplined enough, or you don't stick to things. These thoughts can sound incredibly factual, but when you look at them, they're generalizations. They're built from memories. You know, there are times you fell off the path. You did, but that was just a memory. The memory doesn't actually exist. It's just that, an illusion. And what we've done is we've drawn conclusions of our thoughts as facts, and we've exaggerated them. You know, if you think you're inconsistent, your mind will happily show you some examples of your inconsistency, and it will quietly ignore the hundreds of examples of when you stayed committed. That's how the mind operates. A lot depends upon what you're placing your attention on. When I used to run workshops, management and leadership development, which was my background at one point, I used to say to people at the end of one of the days, the first day normally, I said, I just want you to go out now and on your way home, just notice how many, sometimes I'd say white, sometimes I'd say silver, sometimes I'd say black, it doesn't matter, cars you see. So how many white cars you notice. And tomorrow morning when you come in, just have a look to see if they're still there. There are lots of white cars about. You will be stunned how many people see lots of white cars because they're looking for them. their attention's on them. That's all I was doing. And our thinking works exactly the same way. Whatever lens you're looking through, whatever story you're telling yourself, the mind finds the evidence to support it. This is why we talk so much in Light Minds about consciousness, awareness. And it's not because consciousness makes negative thoughts disappear. You don't need to try and make negative thoughts disappear, but because awareness reminds us that we're having a thought. That's all it is. And that changes everything. So instead of this isn't working, you might notice, I'm having a thought, this isn't working. Um, or, oh, here we go again, I'll never get there. You might again just become aware of, I'm thinking I'll never get there. Now, that might sound really like a small difference, but it's huge because one seems like a fact and one seems like something temporary. And it can make a huge shift for you. It can really change a lot because what happens is you create space, and space changes your perspective. It opens the opportunity for your innate intelligence to flow through you, for wisdom to come for you. And you then think of something new. It allows that to emerge. And again, in Light Minds, what we talk a lot about is you return to clarity. You don't have to manufacture anything. You don't have to force anything. What's happening is the water, the muddy water, is just settling down. And so when your thinking slows down, perspective returns. And you've experienced this. Things just feel a lot easier. Decisions become clearer. And the mind's returning to its natural balance. And that's a place where we can trust things. We're not stressed or frustrated, tired or hungry. Things don't look dramatic. We're just open to new things coming. You know, when it gets foggy, when visibility drops, you don't suddenly accelerate. You slow down. You allow the conditions to improve. And the same can be true with your thinking. When your mind feels foggy, don't become more busy. Don't try and overcome things by creating more thinking. What's this all about? You don't need to know that. You just need to let it settle down because clarity will return. It always does. You don't need to fight it. You don't need to replace it. You don't need to do anything about it. You don't need to learn any techniques or anything like that. You just need to let things settle down. You'll see more perspective. Things will feel easier. And it'll be much simpler to make the decisions you want to make to move forward. So have a look this week. See what comes up for you. See if I'm right. If thoughts can just float on by like clouds in the sky. Thanks so much.